afternoon. We're glad to welcome you to our SAP Tech Talks webinar. A few words regarding the event organization. The webinar will be recorded and then posted on our YouTube channel. You may ask all your questions in the Q&A field. Today's speakers are Pavel Belski, Mikhail Ponomarev, and Natallia Shtura. And the topic of their webinar is Advanced Decision Making in SAP SuccessFactors with SAP BTP. I give the floor to our speakers.
Hi everyone, my name is Pavel Belski. I'm a software engineering manager at EPAM Systems, and I played role as a solution architect for last 4 years, I guess, and my main focus is S/4HANA extensions and BTP solutions. My teammates and me, we would like to share with you our experience in advanced decision-making solution for SAP SuccessFactors building on SAP BTP. Today's talk will consist 5 parts, and the first part will be a solution overview. Before we go to the solution diagram, let me share with you our project goal. The main goal was to build a solution to automate workflow decision making for our customer. It was a HCM SuccessFactors solution. To build the solution, there were 5 objectives. The first one, building these workflow systems. The second one, we need to count votes, and it's also very important that some votes weigh more than others. The third bullet, we need to implement not approve and reject in the system, but also approve and reject via emails. Next point, we need to integrate our SuccessFactors and BTP solution, and the last one is also important to have a reporting for these workflows. Okay, let's move on to solution architecture diagram. We have a SAP SuccessFactors, and it was integrated with SAP BTP Cloud using cloud process integration in BTP Neo. This is out of the box from SAP if you have a subscription to SuccessFactors. I mean, SAP BTP Neo Cloud Process Integration. The solution was tool agnostic. I mean that user can log into our solution using iOS, Android, Windows, or desktop, or whatever. Go to launch part, and we use identity authentication service and Microsoft Azure Active Directory. This is our diagram for our solution. We use SAP SuccessFactors components available out of the box, and we build some MDF objects. We created a new SAP UI5 application to request to create a request workflow and approve. The backend was built using CAP Node.js, and the main engine was in SAP Workflow Management using business rules, workflow, process visibility, and we use SAP Workflow Management embedded storage and the APIs to store the data. We didn't use SAP HANA Cloud Service for storage data. We used MDF objects and WFM embedded storage, and SAP Document Management System Service will be in the future scope. Okay, to sum up, what tools and technology we used. We used SAP UI5 for building UI, SAP Cloud Application Programming Model CAP for middleware, CPI for integration, SuccessFactors MDF objects to store some custom data, workflow management, SAP workflow management we used as a pro-code approach. And process flexibility cockpit, we reuse workflow management objects in our process flexibility as a low code. It was a mix of pro code and low code in our solution. Okay, and I pass the goal to Mikhail.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Mikhail Ponomarev, and I am a BTP Technical Lead in EPAM. So up with the presentation. Sorry, my presentation is not working for some reason. Let me reshare then, okay? Is it fine now? Okay, fine. So again, hi everyone. My name is Mikhail Ponomarev. I'm BTP Technical Lead, and I will talk about CAP and SAP UI5 parts of our solution. This part was not the spiciest one. The spiciest part is section 3 about workflow management, but still we faced a bunch of challenges and some interesting outcomes and lessons learned, which I want to share with you today. So first of all, as you might mention, in the initial architecture, there was literally no SAP HANA Cloud. What it means for us is that we had to build a more complex CAP solution, which will combine the workflow management REST API with SAP SuccessFactors or Data V2 API. It's not only different protocols, it's also the fact that workflow management REST API has a bunch of limited filtering capabilities. What we also found out is that for our Mindbox implementation, Mindbox, just for the context, is the application related to workflow, which allows user to take decisions on the process requests. So in this Mindbox, each request can have a custom UI5 application, and that's about it. So Fiori elements are too unstable for this case. So at the same time, the object we are showing there is very similar to the object of the request creation app, and we will talk about it later. The final thing is that our processes usually based on really low amounts of data, so we had to create an elegant solution for that. Elegant and low weight. So let's talk about each of these points in details. First of all, no SAP HANA Cloud. So this is the case where HANA might be an overkill, as we already have SuccessFactors where our main data is stored, and we have workflow management, which stores our workflow processes. And what we really need is, I don't know, state of the requests plus some technical data. So HANA is clearly overkill for this. And as as it was kind of expensive for customers, we just decided to store the data in places I mentioned. So in workflow plus in SuccessFactors. And the thing is, like, the main entity in this case was stored in SuccessFactors, of course. These are our requests. I'm showing you this based on the promotion process. Okay, so the dependent parts, like the all of the reference data lied in the SAP SuccessFactors. And we realized that we always need to plan where we will store our technical tables. So sometimes, well, you can use some capabilities of SuccessFactors, but sometimes you can consider even the hard code files of your code, like, for example, for statuses of processes. Sometimes it might be even enumeration types. And sometimes you might even consider business rules. So, okay, we have no HANA, which means that we had to combine REST API, where the main object is stored, with OData v2 API, where our reference data was stored. And the outcome is like, yes, in our scenario, we really reduced the costs just by avoiding HANA. But if it's possible, try to avoid such scenarios, just because you see, there are more than 10 methods. None of them is trivial. And this is what was required for one process. And like in our solution, we had like 10 processes. So so these 10 methods are just related to a bunch of front-end queries which required to show the data properly on the UI. So there are lots of CAP development there. And if you had to commit to such scenario, the first thing you need to do as a technical specialist is to learn the CAP handler request query structure, because you will have to manipulate it a lot. The simplest operation you will do in this case is just forward your query to your external service. In our case, it's SuccessFactors. The more complicated things are erasing expense from query, which are existed on your side, but not existing in your external API, like SuccessFactors. You also will have to do sometimes some cosmetic operations like sorting. In this case, we applied default sorting when selecting from the workflow requests table. I'm not sure if it's a table in the workflow, but still, probably it's a table, because it can be filtered, it receives requests. Anyway, and the most complicated operation here is, as I mentioned, the main entity in our case stored in workflow REST, which provides REST API, and the dependent data is in the SuccessFactors, and we needed to organize expanse. Yeah, that's one of the most complicated things there. Okay. Also, beware of the number of fields you request into your external service, because sometimes it provides you, I don't know, more than 100 fields, and you demand only 20, for example, or 30. Do not leave this overkill there, because no one needs extra traffic. And avoid renaming of fields on your site. So let's say you have a projection to your external service. So don't rename the fields because you don't want to also commit to a double work to correctly map it frontwards and backwards. So the next thing is the workflow management REST API. So first of all, it has limited filtering capabilities, and it's based on attributes mostly, and you can have only 15 attributes. It's absolutely max amount of them. If you will try to add extra, this error will be shown. These attributes you have to consider are also using in the process visibility reporting. So if customer forces you to make reports based on, I don't know, 30 or 50 attributes, well, two options: go consult with SAP directly, or probably pick another tool. Or you can, of course, convince the customer to reduce the number of attributes to 15 and maybe make the process less complex, maybe split the processes by several. Okay, so when you're filtering the workflow API, you have only equal operator. So no greater, equal, and so on. Fortunately, you can pass multiple values as as on the example below. So one more thing is in the next section, Natallia Shtura will tell you about leading workflows, which we actively used there. And the leading workflow has an expand limitation. So you can't expand attributes of leading workflow. So you should consider variants of this leading workflow. Okay.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I have been working at EPAM for almost 3 years. I took part in 3 SAP BTP projects, and I am an expert in SAP workflow management. And today I would like to tell you more about workflow management and our experience in process flexibility cockpit. Okay. The main goal of our POC was to create a flexible processes which can be dynamically developed depending on the process context. For creation this functionality, we chose SAP Process Flexibility Cockpit with predefined templates for the future variants. In Process Flexibility Cockpit, it is possible to generate a leading workflow. And this workflow will choose a proper process variant based on the input parameters, based on the past process context. In other words, you should invoke only one workflow and pass input parameters. And this workflow will choose a proper process variant, only one. Okay. On this slide, you can see a step-by-step development process. And I want to share with you some more details regarding this process. First of all, in Business Application Studio, you should create a workflow definition. This workflow definition will be used as a step in the future process variant. This workflow can be used as universal step, and you can use this workflow as many times as you need. Okay, we create just one workflow and use as a step. Here we can see complicated model. And for variants, this will be just a step. And we can invoke this workflow many times. Then we need to create a business rule project. In this business rule project, we should add data objects. And then, this is very important thing, we should add these data objects to exposed vocabulary. You can see this area highlighted. These data objects will be used for configuration of the start and step conditions of our variant. This is very important. Then, in Business Application Studio, we should create a template and a variant. In the template, we define what steps are possible. In variant, we just create a default view of the variant in Process Flexibility Cockpit, for Process Flexibility Cockpit. And I would like to review with you main points of the template. For General tab, in General tab, we fill in general information about our template, like subject, name, like a visual attributes. And the main and the very interesting and the very important field is vocabulary configuration. Here we specify business rule project, which we just saw on my previous slide. These business rule projects with exposed data vocabulary we will use for configuration our variants, our future variants. Then let's move to the next slide. Here we can see process steps tab. There are three types of process steps. Start and end steps are always executed, and it is possible to assign any workflow from our MTA project to these steps. For example, at the start of the variant, we always call the initiate history workflow. You can see on the screen that we select a workflow, initialize history, but it is optional. You can just decide you need it or no. Then the general step is promotion request. At the very beginning of my presentation, I showed you workflow promotion request, and I mentioned that it will be as a step. Here, we choose this workflow for step, but you can always add more steps for you. Any workflow that you choose will be available as a step on your variant, as I will show you this step. And there are special workflows. They marked as action step. This workflow will be invoked by outcome. We can add special workflows, and we can trigger that workflow only by special events for special reasons. Okay, this is for steps, and let's move to the next slide, process context. The list of process context is used to pass data between variant steps. What does it mean? All data from list, from process context list, are available in each step. You can use this information for maybe any data like name of approvers or recipient list or something like this. For history, for example, for storage history in context and for UI. And the very interesting part is process attributes. These attributes allow you to filter API, which Mikhail mentioned. We use these attributes for filtering, but these attributes are available for process visibility application, and these attributes will be available for filtering in process visibility tool. You can add only 15 attributes, and to add information from context, from process context to these attributes. This is like dynamic attributes. Okay, now we're ready to deploy our MTA projects with workflow, with template, with variants to sub-account. Then we should go to Manage Packages application and create a package. Add to that package our deployed template or maybe templates, and save this package. Then we are ready to go to Process Flexibility Cockpit. In Process Flexibility Cockpit, we can find live process, and in that live process, we will create our future variants. And let's review Process Flexibility Cockpit. Here you can see place where we create our variants. And you can see only one available step, promotion request, because I selected only one workflow. Of course, you can add more workflow, more steps for your variant. On the General tab, you can see two workflow definitions. The first one is variant ID. The second one is the most interesting part. It is a leading workflow definition. Only this workflow we will use for API trigger, and to this workflow we will pass input parameters, and this workflow will choose from various of variant only one for our business needs by predefined start conditions of the variant. And I want to mention that you can easily drag and drop steps to your variant, and you can delete every time you can delete any step or add some more steps and just activate your variant, and you will use the new one, the new updated variant. Okay, the main attractive part is configuration start conditions and step conditions. Let's start from start conditions. Here you can see that for our variant, there is a start condition DCT. Company is DCT. And in the left side of our slide, you can see that process context. In process context, we too have company DCT. Therefore, this variant will be triggered, only this. And let's review step conditions. For each step, you can define a unique condition. And let's review step condition for step department director. For this step, initiator user rule must be super admin, but we can check in the process context that we see initiator user role department director. What does it mean? It means that this step should be skipped, and workflow will go forward to the next step. And in the next step, will be checked step conditions for sector executive director step, and step by step we can check and skip or proceed with these steps. And last but not least, it is outcomes. For each step, we can configure outcomes. There are two options. There are two options for this outcome. You can define which workflow you want to invoke. In template, I showed you that there are workflows which we marked like action step. Here we use this workflow. In then field, we can choose do nothing, or we can choose workflow which were marked like action step. And then we can choose the next course of our variant. Okay, in general, if outcomes is occurred, we can invoke some workflow, any workflow which we marked as action step, and then we can choose continue process variant or repeat step or restart process variant or terminate all process variant. It's very useful part for some escalation, for example, or for abort process. Okay, and this is all from my side. Thank you very much, and I would like to give the floor to Pavel for our demo. Pavel, the stage is yours.
Hi again. Let me show you a demo how the application is look like. Only I need to say I need to say that it's not a production environment, but it's two sandboxes in EPAM and SAP SuccessFactors. I don't know. Demo is not working. Okay, now it's working. Okay, I will show you like this. Okay, we go to the launch part. Yeah, let me say, yeah, we go to the launch part, click the proper request. For the demo, only one request. In my inbox, no workflows, no requests for approval. And we're going to create a new request for promotion. Yeah, we click create request, choose an employee, choose employee ID, choose a new position for him, and click request. Yeah, it was a girl. Now it's going to be.
I'm sorry, Pavel.
Yeah.
Your screen is not shared. Could you please repeat it once again? We can see the demo.
Okay, let me do it one more time. Okay. Okay, launch part. We're going to start a request. Click create. Choose a new position. Yeah, a new request was created. Okay, and we need to set some figures, 80 hat allowance, yeah, and fulfillment allowance to create a request. Write a comment. And finally, we need to submit. Okay, we submit the request. It was the status draft, and now the status is in progress. Yeah, and the requests go to current approver, sector executive director. We log into by another role with the sector executive director. In my inbox, there is one request and also an email for approver. Let's go to my inbox. The UI is pretty similar from list report and from my inbox. Yeah, we can see that request was created by director. Yeah, and now it's by selected executive director. We write a comment like I'm agree, not agree, or whatever. Yeah, just approved. We have a selected executive director, current approver, approved. It's disappeared from my inbox for sector executive director. We can go to see all requests from list report and check is it now on sector or not. Yeah, we see that this is approved. I was assigned to a new role, not only by sector, but also as a rewards team. And I see in my inbox that a new request for rewards team is coming. In application, the same situation. Yeah, and the main idea now to approve it from email. It might be one person or several person. We approved it, and now we go to my inbox and to the application and check it. Yeah, you see that in my inbox no requests, and in employee promotion request we will see that it's approved by rewards team and go to HRC reporter to the next team. Yep, this is worth a demo. And let me go to conclusion. Yeah, some bullets like as a sum up for our experience. You can combine using CAP simple REST into data, but this is like painful from development point of view. Yeah, it's required a lot of development, but this is possible. You can use workflow management as a pro-code tool and then to reuse it in a low-code approach. And this is also possible in SAP build process automation. Yeah, it called from SAP hybrid mode. Then you use pro-code capabilities and low-code capabilities. Yeah, and reuse it. You will also do it in our project, but only with SAP workflow management. And the last one, yeah, if you want to store, to save money, not to use SAP HANA Cloud and to use embedded storage or SAP SuccessFactors and MDF object, it might be as a workaround, but you might face performance issues and extra development, and much more development will be required. Yep, I guess that's it. And Q&A session.
So thank you to all our speakers. So as a short pause to help our speakers to take a break and prepare to answer questions, I'd like to encourage you to join our community on other social networks like Facebook, Telegram, LinkedIn, and of course, Ware community platform via the links in the chat. By the way, don't miss the registration for our upcoming SAP Tech Talk, AI Revolution, Empowering SAP Development with ChatGPT. The registration link is available in the meeting chat. So let's get down to the Q&A part. The first question is, what were the main benefits of the developed solution from the business point of view?
Yeah, from the business point of view, as I mentioned in the beginning, that SAP SuccessFactors embedded workflows, they are pretty straightforward, and there is no possibility to approve requests in parallel and to have waits on approval. Yeah, in case we have, I don't know, 5 approvers and I'm ahead and my approval means 3 instead of 1. Yeah, it's not possible in SuccessFactors. Our solution was possible to do it.
Yeah.
And we give also, if you remember what Natalia said and what I showed on the demo, that we built our workflow objects, yeah, and it was like a puzzle. We were able to create, and user will be able to create as many steps as required by only customizing.
Thank you. So the next question. Have you tried to use SAP Build Process Automation? Because workflow management with process flexibility is not available anymore in SAP BTP. Will it work the same?
Yeah,
Okay.
to be honest, we will be able to now to migrate it when we starting their discovery. Yeah, the discovery and the implementation. SAP Build Process Automation was too raw. I would say is now not so fancy and finished, but more than 1 year ago it was not available.
Okay, thank you, Natalia. Would you like to add something?
Yes, I would like. Thank you, Hannah. Yes, we have tried to add live process to SAP Build Process Automation. Now we can just download from store live process, and yes, we can use a leading workflow or predefined variants, but we cannot create our own template. We cannot create our own variants and live process like in process flexibility cockpit. You can just download from store predefined templates, and yes, you can activate it. You can call leading workflow, and this workflow will choose variants. You can create variants, but steps in this variant will predefined by SAP in live process which you downloaded. Yeah.
Other words, not all low-code functionality from SAP Workflow Management were migrated in SAP Build Process Automation, and we are not sure if all of them will be migrated. And we know definitely that the approach with business rules will be different in SAP Process Automation. Before it was like almost separate, and it might be reused. It might be invoked from Postman and outside. Now it's might possible to invoke, but it's not recommended. Yeah, now business rules should be in a process automation workflow inside tool if it's not a standalone. So there are minor, but some changes, and they become not minor, I would say.
And I would like to add, sorry, Pasha,
Yeah.
today I've checked business rules, decisions. We can reuse decision table, which we created in one process, in one project. We shouldn't create process in this package, in this process. Okay? And we can invoke this via API in Postman. I just checked it. We can use it, yeah. And we can create decision table, text rule, in one project, and we can mark it like reusable rule. And from API, we can just try it, and it works. I don't know how for future projects how it works, but bad or good. Yeah, sorry.
Sparky.
Perfect, thank you. So the next question. Can you tell me how long does it take to create this demo? Also, what aspect of the development process took the most of time?
The hardest one was definitely the backend. Regarding timeline, Pavel?
To be honest, could you, Hannah, could you repeat the question? I guess I didn't. How much time to prepare a demo?
Yeah, exactly.
Demo or solution?
Yeah.
Look, for demo, we did some, we did some coding in our sandboxes in parallel, so the code was almost ready. So it was almost nothing to prepare it. This demo, yeah, there were some attempts, yeah, just to do a proper video as expected. But from development, backend was the biggest part. I would say 70%. Cup to combine REST or data to use workflow, embedded storage as a storage. Yeah, I would say maybe maybe not 70, maybe 60 middleware, 20 UI, 20 workflow.
Got it. Thank you. Our next question: is there an opportunity to use these tools in SAP Analytics Cloud Planning application?
No clue. Sorry.
Probably you will find out it later, and we will share the answer in the article with the Q&A answer. Yeah. And the next question, is CPI used in this solution?
Yeah, CPI was used as integration tile.
But for the backend, it was easier to just directly connect to SuccessFactors API.
Yeah. Some APIs we connect directly, and for some reasons we used CPI.
Fantastic. So I see that that's it. So if there are
back to SAC, I guess there are available APIs, yeah, and SAC can consume APIs, yeah, but as far as I know, for now, Signavio is tightly integrated with sub-process automation. At least I haven't checked. I do not have hands-on, yeah, at least what SAP said. Signavio plus sub-build process automation, and there are APIs in Signavio give you some suggestions and give APIs with the data, and SPA have an APIs, and you can consume it in SAC, yeah, for planning as well.
I see. So thank you. So if there are no questions anymore, then I'd like to thank our speakers for the interesting speech. As already mentioned, the webinar recording will be posted on our YouTube channel. The links to the recording will be sent separately. Colleagues, thank you very much for your participation and have a nice day.